It was something very much more emotional. It was something that really, a lot of people came along. Besides the people I have, and I met up with different kinds of people who just, I think basically I go for personality. And I think kind of, all the countries, around the world that have a strong culture, people are always more interesting. I think generally, if you get into the culture. I just come back from Egypt, and that was quite an experience because I think you must have culture to appreciate it. I think generally you must have lived it somewhere along the line, even if it's just your parents or your relatives or whatever. It's nice to have a religion and a background and some kind of idea of what you are.
It seems to me like it's such a grounding sense. I find myself, the older I get, needing that kind of center.
Well, it's just nice to have. It's nice. I mean, obviously the family thing as well is important. I mean, it maybe isn't important to everyone, but it is important to me. I think most intelligent people kind of love their families and love to have people around them.
That's why the Waltons have been so popular on TV, right? Everybody who doesn't have a good one at home wants to live at the Waltons, right? I'm always like wanting to go out and adopt people. Hi, would you be my brother since the real one didn't work out quite so well? Maybe. Maybe we could do this again the right way,
Yeah, I think it's nice if things fall into place naturally. So that's what happened with the band. And basically, I had a shop in Carnaby Street, which is still in the 60s, but it wasn't in the 60s, this is about 400 years ago. And I'd started this shop. I'd started working for this guy called Peter Small, who had a chain of like small boutiques. And I had this great idea. I said, I would love to have my own shop. Maybe I can find people to work in it and get designers. There's a lot of people around that I knew. So I said, give me a break, let me have this shop. So he did, and it wasn't going very well. And then I finally met up with Sue Clowes, the girl.
Right.
And she was doing the most atrocious clothes. I mean, they were really the worst. I mean, they were really badly made, kind of lycra, with leopard skin and real dodgy seams, the worst. I mean, tacky in a bad way. So I said, well, I don't like any of this stuff she's doing. And one day she came in with some printed ties, which were wonderful. And she had this one with the Virgin Mary and Jesus, which was really, it wasn't crude, it was really pretty. It's really kind of puritanical, which I really liked. And we just worked on these ideas together. And I felt that in London at the time it was very decadent. It was very decadent, everyone was going out getting drunk. Rather like a night at the Danceteria, I don't like that place. I find it too overpowering.
People don't have good manners.
No, they're just kind of sort of like...
Everybody's so bored. Everybody in New York is like, if I hadn't paid $20 to get in here, I would fall asleep on the floor, I mean, you see these people so bored, and I'm not from around here, and I say, well, come on, aren't you having a good time? I mean, it cost us $15 to get in here. Let's smile,
No, but I just think that... I just hated that whole new romantic thing and all those kind of things. I hated
cozy.
Because I just think that, I mean, the best kind of people are kind of those big fat women you meet at bus stops.
Yeah.
Who probably haven't got a clue about how to look.
And they cook good food. In the South, people eat and they laugh and they tell lies and jokes and all sorts of stuff. Well, you seem to have such a good sense of humor on stage and like with your whole image and everything. I mean, you've got so much balls to, be who you are and just everything that you are. And I think that,
it's come to the stage now where, I mean, people were saying to me about last night's show, saying, this journalist said to me, a lot of people out there were thinking, who is this guy? He's like walking out on stage in front of 80,000 people and, he's not scared. Because like a lot of the kind of new, considering we're a very young band, a lot of the new kind of performers clamp up. But I think, in that sense, I'm professional. I mean, I've done all my learning in public. All my kind of attitudes and my public relations, I've learned in public. I've learned everything in public, my musical abilities, whatever. So, to me, it's my job, and I have to get out there and do it. But also because I enjoy it, not because it's just, I mean, it is a job. If you're a designer, it's a job. But it isn't a job like going to work at 9 o'clock in the morning and coming home at 5. It's a job you enjoy. And to be quite honest, you're very lucky in life to have something you enjoy, Even if it's like picking food out of trash cans. You're lucky if you enjoy it, and I think that in that way, I'm very lucky because I do like doing it, and I don't do it for money.
No.
No way.
No rock and roll performer does it for money.
Some people do though.
Well, I think at some point, but
I think a lot of people do though. A lot of rock. I just think that there aren't many personalities in rock. There's a lot more kind of film star personalities. Rock stars generally haven't got any personality, I think, generally.
Well, I went out to the Midwest, and because my family comes from Indiana. And, the heartland, the farm country, the Amish country, and I asked all these little 14-year-old girls who were, kids of my friends, who they really love on TV, and it was you, Adam Ant, and Brian Setzer, you know, the people with the most radical image. And these kids are straight farm kids, you know, and I thought that was really exceptional, that the images they liked
because
most.
it's not you see, you know, you can do things in a really offensive way, and I think that there is a sense of humour. I mean, that's the main thing. There's a sense of humour. I think, you know, you can even with Adam Ant, although Adam Ant takes himself very seriously, there is a sense of humour there, because you know, it isn't serious, but it's quite good quality. You know, it's like you can be funny without being cheap. And I think that's kind of, you know, and also because, you know, that I'm not a threat. I'm not a sexual threat at all. I mean, some people consider me to be a sexual threat, but I don't think I am at all.
But
I'm
you
very
have so
moralistic.
much fun with it, yeah.
I think that, you know, it's kind of, I think basically, you see, I think we're all, as a race, we're very imperfect, and I think I consider myself to be quite imperfect. So I think I fit into that race very easily, and I think that's, you know, I have a certain normal wisdom quality, which fits in wonderfully, you know, and I think that I couldn't go out on stage without maybe being a little bit nervous and unsure of myself, and act the way I do. You know, there has to be a kind of give and take, even with your own sexuality or your own whatever, you know, your own personality. There's got to be a kind of if and buts.
Yeah, I sort of always figured out if I couldn't look like Brooke Shield and was never going to be beautiful, I might as well have a good time with it. I mean, I teach in a college like this, and, you know, 90 professors in the department, and I come in like this all the time. But, you know, the kids go, what the fuck is going on here? And then they realize that we're going to have a good time and they're going to learn something. And it's sort of like you're giving them what they've paid for, which is a wonderful show and a good time. Everybody left last night feeling great.
And I think that, you know, it is easy to kind of fuck up as well when you're doing those things. You know, it's easy to go out, and I think, you know, the best people are people with sense of humour. You know, I think the best people, you know, Dolly Parton's got a sense of humour.
Oh, she's wonderful. She's just wonderful.
And I think, you know, Liberace's got a sense of humour too. You know?
Well, she always says she would have been a drag queen if she would have been a guy. You know, and she's just got that fabulous looseness with herself. I mean, she knows what her imperfections are and she goes with it.
Oh, that's the same
You
with me,
know.
I think. You know.
Yeah.
I think I feel kind of on a par with her. You know?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's this whole subculture of like people who we didn't fit into these beautiful, gorgeous things that we saw in magazines. So we said, well, let's have a good time, you know? I mean, nobody's ever going to come up on the street and say, oh, you're a very beautiful girl, but they might say, that's the funniest thing I ever heard, you know? And then, you know, then you think, well, that lasts longer than, you know, thinking somebody's gorgeous.
Well, you know, your looks fade.
Yeah.
I think your personality can only improve.
Right.
I mean, I think a lot of people, you know, John, our drama, his grandmother's the most wonderful woman.
Ready for
And she
this
loves
in the
me.
studio, please.
She loves me. And she's rich, and she's a real cow. But she loves me, and she's the sort of woman that would go everywhere with me if I wanted her to. But she'd show you off, so it can be a bit of a drag.
Yeah,
but,
right.
But she's quite a camp old lady, and I think that's generally. I think women, especially women in particular, they get very loose as they get older.
Well, they have to, because, you know, people aren't desiring them anymore, so they have to get loose. You know, I mean, my godmother's 85 and she's in an old people's home, and the last time I went, she says, well, that looks better than the last time you look like a streetwalker. And I said, Florence, you shouldn't say that. And she said, I'm 83 years old and I'll say whatever the fuck I want to say now. You know, that's great, it's true.
It is true, yeah.
You know, she's stuck in a home, who's going to hit her now, you know? And it's great, you know, and you're just sort of like, you're getting 40 years head, you know, 60 years head start on that whole thing, you know.
I think it's important.
Imagine what this whole group of people is going to be like when they're 80, you know.
I think that, you know, I think the key word is kind of fun.
Yeah.
You know, without being ridiculous. I mean, I don't like smut.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like sexual things.
Uh-uh.
I like kind of clean. I like moralistic things. You know, I think morals can be quite attractive.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't like decadence, which is odd because I suppose I am a symbol of decadence to some people, but I don't think I am decadent in my own way.
Well, if you got out there and did what you do, like Steve Strange did it, then it'd be decadent. But as long as you laugh while you do, I mean, look how vulgar Mae West was, but it doesn't seem vulgar when she's doing it. You know.
Well, I think, you know, Steve Strange was kind of unsure of what he wanted. I mean, I know what I want.
Yeah.
You know,
What do you want?
anything.
Anything, and I want it now, right? Well, I can enjoy it, right?
Basically, you know, I mean, I think you have to, you know, to have success, you must be a little bit intelligent. I mean, you mustn't, I mean, obviously saying, I want anything. I know what I want, but it's very difficult to talk about it. You know, you either just get on with it.
Well, you want anything, but you have the intelligence to know what wouldn't be good for you.
Yeah, I think that's
You
the
know?
main thing. I think, I know when to stop and say, oh, dry up.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that I do make, I set myself examples if I can afford to,
Yeah.
which is important.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay. So, what basically were your influences?
Fashion-wise. and
Well,
music-wise.
fashion or music, either one.
Tony Orlando in the studio,
there's
please.
things,
Tony Orlando.
I love all fashion era.
Mhm.
I love all fashion. I mean, I love the 70s. I love the 60s. I love the 50s. I love all fashion.
Mhm.
I think, the 30s, 20s I loved, and women's 30s. I think women's fashion's always been wonderful.
Mhm.
Men, I think, were a bit naff in the 20s and 30s, the suits and things. But I thought, there was some great, But basically, I love all fashion. I love nostalgia. I'm a total nostalgia freak. If a Lullaby Broadway comes on, then I miss the show.
What are your
stay in.
favorite films?
Well, all those Busby Berkeley films.
Yeah, oh, Jesus, yeah, right.
I have a friend in LA that you'd love. I really wish you could meet her, because she's her name is Teresa Thurmer, and she just dresses, she's completely wild. I mean, she would be the most fantastic thing for you to meet. You should try and see her.
Oh, I'd love to.
She makes all her own costumes. She makes bustle dresses, and she goes out. You never see, she sits in all day making clothes and goes out, glittery eyelashes. She wears these big beehives, but she looks fantastic. She is even. I mean, she makes me look normal. She came to see us in LA, and she's actually a friend of mine from England who lives in LA now, because she fits in wonderfully here. Because she actually looks about 40. Underneath, she's beautiful. I mean, she's beautiful, got lovely skin, and she puts this big cake makeup on, and she's wonderful.
Yeah, I just, my subscription to Less is More ran out years ago. I'm not interested. Okay, can we put it on? The sort of the wedding cake theory. How much can you pack on this thing? Where do you see your image changing? Do you have other things in
It's
mind?
odd because I think the word image, I don't know. I mean, I don't particularly consider it to be an image, because I think an image is kind of a bacon
Static.
foil jacket that you
Yeah.
put on as an art. I mean, especially as a performer, as a musician, or whatever, in a rock band.
You seem more like a performing artist to me.
Well, I think that I don't like the idea of image. The word image is kind of, to me, is jeans and t-shirts. I think that that I always change without being too moving away. I mean, I wear baggy clothes,
Why?
Well, because I'm on the podgy side, and I wear. I am. But I mean, I'm not, but I am, as far as I'm concerned. You have
it's
these
your
kind
own self-image
of,
of who you are.
I just think that you have, as I said earlier about the imperfections,
Uh-huh.
that there's certain things I want to look like, and
Uh-huh.
I mean, they're very.
Do you look like what
egotistical.
you want to look like now?
Oh yeah. I mean, not first thing in the morning, but I believe in transformation. I love the idea of transformation. I mean, I've always thought I looked very boring. As a child, I spent hours in front of the mirror thinking.
Yeah, I was the
give
kind
up.
of kid, my mother wouldn't even buy my grammar school pictures because I was so unattractive, and she told me that too. All the neighbors would say to my brother, "Oh, he's so cute," and they'd say to me, "I bet you're smart, aren't you?" And you know what that meant. You're 6 years old, you knew it meant you were a real barker, but they were trying to be polite, but they wanted you, to know what it was. So I became smart, and funny, because that was my out. But I mean, do you see this evolving? I mean, do you see things? Oh.
Yes
Okay.
and no. I see it evolving, but I always stick to kind of very similar things. I mean, very non-male, non-female.
Mm-hmm.
Not without being. I mean, androgynous is a bit of an odd word, because I don't think. I mean, people say, "Oh, I wear drag." I don't wear drag. Every newspaper in England says I wear dresses. I wear big shirts. I kind of take conventional things and make them unconventional. I get shirts and I make them really long and pad the shoulders right out. I mean, I don't. I wear. Last night I was wearing boiler dungarees with numbers on. I took them to pieces, and my mother sewed the numbers on. And it's.
So you're basically styling your own look now.
I did the whole.
Yeah.
Everyone's clothes. I did the whole lot. I spent the
When
whole.
do you have time to sleep?
I did. Well, actually, what happened was we have a guy that makes stuff for us occasionally, and he couldn't do it, so I had to go find out my mother and say, "Look, get your machine out."
Oh, that's great.
So she's quite good like that.
I'm in awe. I don't know when you find that time to do it. You want me to tie this up then?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Do you want to strip